everyone, welcome to another video. There's not too many shout outs today, but a quick shout out to Miss Eliza Lou 15 and also to Caitlin for subscribing. Thank you so much for doing so. If you want a shout out, then just hit that subscribe button down below, and if you touch the little bell icon next to it, you get instant notifications every time I post a new video. You will also get a shout out in the next video, which should be up next weekend. So today we're going to focus on the GQ case study. I'm just going to bring all the boxes up here as the animations have gone a little bit crazy. But this is going to apply not only for those of you who are looking at the current GQ front cover with the rock on it, but also when Educast release other versions of GQ, this will also be applicable as well. Because really this is looking at the publication as a whole and not just those specific front covers. So starting off with the ideology, then the magazine began as Gentleman's Quarterly, which is where we get the title GQ from. Basically, in the title, it's very clear to see that their ideology revolves around ideas about masculinity. Now, originally, this would have been focused on those traditional ideas of hypermasculinity and what it meant to be a man, but this has sort of evolved over time to include more metrosexuality and also spornosexuality as well. So this is more applicable to those ideas about how to be a modern man. Following on from this, the primary demographic, obviously as suggested by the name of the publication, are going to be men. They're likely to be 25 to 40 years old because this age group tend to be more concerned with their image and also want to progress and want to develop and become sort of like a better version of themselves, which is also why this is likely to hit the C1 to D group and also aspirers, because these groups have something to prove and have something that they are aiming for. Now, the secondary demographic may include women, but focusing on that sort of male demographic, they're going to be a little bit younger, perhaps those who are sort of questioning how they should look or who are worried about their appearance, both physically how they appear and also perhaps things like their jobs and that sort of thing, how they stand up against their peers, or those who are 40 plus and who maybe have grown up with the publication as a subscription and it's become part of their daily routine. So they're likely to be more mainstreamers who want to keep up to date with things that they potentially need within their lives, or succeeders because these guys are going to have the disposable income that's needed for the products that are advertised within the publication. Now, the magazine was originally published 4 times a year, which is where we get this GQ from, the Q standing for quarterly, but it's since moved to a monthly publication. There's also an online version of the magazine that you can get through iPad and through other sort of online reading tools, but there's also a website as well, and there's social media, which helps to reach out to a wider demographic and to give a little bit more insight into some of those stories. Now, it tends to follow a pattern with its stories and with its publications. So the front page, as we've seen, is normally given over to a male celebrity role model, such as The Rock, but inside the publication, they're likely to be longer articles. Today, they might relate more to mental health, particularly in males, given this is a sort of rising topic in terms of what's being reported, and also because it tends to be something that's not discussed openly within the male community. The magazine also runs a Man of the Year sort of competition or title, which is awarded generally in a special issue of the magazine. Now, it's owned by Condé Nast. They're quite a big publishing house when it comes to magazines, and they own other publications such as Vogue and Glamour. The current editor is Will Welch, but it's also worth knowing that the paper is published internationally, which means it's got various editions, and those different editions can have different front covers. They don't all necessarily look the same month on month. Now, in terms of circulation, this is kind of confusing because if you go to do your own research on GQ and you have a look at the Wikipedia pages, is where I started off, you'll see that the circulation is much, much higher, although that circulation came from February 2014, so it is quite out of date now. Comparatively, Educast on their fact sheets say that the magazine has a circulation of around 115,000 and a readership of around 440,000. So it may be that Wikipedia is combining both the readership and the circulation to get their figure. Either way, it would probably be worthwhile mentioning the Educast version and not focusing too much on that Wikipedia page, just because the information that comes from the exam board is more likely what the examiners are going to get, and so it's worthwhile sticking to that. Now, obviously, either way, it shows that it's a very popular production, particularly with that readership being so high, and one of the reasons for that is that it's been in print for 88 years, so it's managed to sort of evolve with the times to keep this readership quite high and to keep going. Now, in terms of its key features, regardless of what front cover you're looking at, you're going to get a celebrity cover star surrounded by this clear house style, which uses very masculine colouring, normally reds, blues, blacks, that sort of thing. It tends to have more sans serif fonts because it does want to sort of move away from that traditional element and that more formal element to something a little bit more informal and fun. And it will also include a lot of banners and puffs highlighting perhaps that it's a special issue or cover lines that may be of particular importance. Now, in terms of the context, historically this is owned by Condé Nast. We've said that it's been running for 88 years. It was previously known as Gentleman's Quarterly and is now published monthly rather than those 4 times a year. It also has online editions and links to social media. Socially, the paper's moved towards a more metrosexual representation of men, and the paper, although it usually deals with traditional representations of how to be a man, has moved towards dealing with harder issues such as male mental health, which is more of a focus for young men in today's society. Now, culturally, it features celebrity cover stars of all different kinds of cultures, races, religions, and the magazine has sort of become known for featuring a variety of men to obviously fit with the demographic. But it's also come under fire for a lot of controversy. Some of the stories included Russian bombings, and also a story was criticising sort of the Western literary canon, which is basically the sort of most well-known traditional highly sophisticated books within sort of Western literature, which included the Bible, and so it sort of came across as that if they were criticising the Bible and its teachings. It's also been known to overly sexualise its cover stars, and you can find out information about that sort of scandal if you look at how they presented the main characters from Glee. Now, politically, the UK edition is not really influenced by politics, but the same cannot be said for other editions. So thinking about the USA and how a lot of their magazines tend to weigh in on the current president, that might be something that we would see in a magazine from that particular area. I know it was a really quick video today. Partly it's due to just the ridiculous amount of marking that I've got. I hope all of you teachers are settling in really well and are not swamped by marking like I am. Also, my microphone broke, so hopefully this new microphone is working really well and you guys can actually hear what's going on. Here are key terms for today. Have a look at some of them. If you don't know what some of them are, use the fact sheet on the Educast website, or have a look at Google and see if you can make a note card where you write the definition down and you can be using it then in your notes in class. You can get in touch with me if you need to through the comments section and also through Twitter at media_revision. If you want one of those shout outs, please subscribe, hit the button below and you get instant notifications every time I post a new video. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week for the next video.